Today we're talking about college or university level writing. Students come into my classes in University Transfer at Portage College with the idea of a 5-paragraph essay. And writing an essay in 5 paragraphs for your college courses produces something that is either too short to cover the complex subject matter, or has paragraphs that are too long to clearly communicate about the complex subjects you'll be tackling in college. So you can see that a 5-paragraph essay will not suffice for what we want you to be doing. And we have to start by unthinking that, or realizing that 5 paragraphs is not going to be enough to express what we need you to express, that is the results of the various things you'll be studying in college. Now we can start with the 5-paragraph idea and modify it. And so first of all, understand that 5 paragraphs aren't going to be enough for your projects. And then second of all, think, okay, well, if 5 paragraphs aren't going to be enough, maybe 5 sections will be enough. So you can modify your idea of the 5-paragraph essay, taking that from paragraphs to sections. So let's hypothesize about a paper you might write. Hey, it's got an introductory section. That introductory section will have 1 or 2 paragraphs. At the end of that introductory section, you will express the main analysis or argument that you're advancing in your paper. That main analysis or argument usually has 3 subtopics in it, but it may have 2 subtopics, or it may have 4, depending on the material that you are writing about. Now, those subtopics, students are accustomed to thinking will be covered in paragraphs. You've got 3 subtopics, or 2 subtopics, or 4 subtopics, and then you'll have a paragraph for each subtopic. But these subtopics will vary in complexity to the extent that some of them, most of them, will not be able to be treated in a single paragraph. So your introductory section comes to an end. You've identified your subtopics, and then those subtopics should be conceived of as the sections of the body of the paper to follow. So you've got subtopic 1, subtopic 2, subtopic 3. You identify them in your thesis. As I said, you might have 2 subtopics rather than 3. You might have 4 subtopics rather than 3. That's fine. The subject matter that you're studying has to be able to shape your writing project. But let's take that model of 3 subtopics that we've identified in our introduction and think about how we proceed. Your first subtopic may be a subject which is relatively straightforward and uncontroversial, and so you can present all of the information you want to about that subtopic in a single paragraph. The second subtopic is controversial or cutting edge or requires a significant level of explanation. And so for this subtopic, it's going to require 5 paragraphs. And so your next body section, treating your second subtopic, is going to be 5 paragraphs long. It's no problem. It's absolutely ordinary. The third subtopic in your paper may be an issue of moderate complexity, and so you cover it in 3 paragraphs. That is typical, completely ordinary in college level writing, and you need to become comfortable with that level of variation, because the complexity of the different parts of your paper are going to vary. And so some can be treated in a single paragraph. Others will require several paragraphs for you to fully explain the point that you're trying to make about that subtopic. Then, after you've finished that third section, or that body section number 3, with the issue of moderate complexity, then comes your conclusion section. Conclusions are rarely a single paragraph and are more often 2 paragraphs. And you recapitulate your main analysis or argument, summarize what you've done so far. Now, another way to unthink the 5-paragraph essay, or another way you can reconceive of this material so that it will produce a result that'll get you better grades in college, is to think about what a paragraph is. So students come to college often with an idea that a paragraph is supposed to cover a single topic. That is partially and possibly true, but really, a paragraph is a sequence of related ideas that represent a stage in your subtopic. So some subtopics are simple enough that you can explain them in a single stage. Others are really complex. And all of this research that you're trying to synthesize that was all published in 2024 or 2025, something like that, and there are varying opinions on it, and you need to spend a lot of time teasing out the different positions and articulating what your view of the material is. This might take you 5 paragraphs. And each of those paragraphs is a stage in explaining that subtopic. So, a paragraph is a stage of explanation of a subtopic. Some subtopics are so simple that a single paragraph will do. Most subtopics need 3 paragraphs, 4 paragraphs, 5 paragraphs, or 6 paragraphs to cover everything in them. When you're writing work of greater complexity, as you will in college or university. And so reconceiving of the paragraph, right? So a paragraph should not exceed 1-page double-spaced at 12-point font. If you've got a paragraph that is longer than 1 page, you should look for that spot in it where you've proceeded from an earlier stage in your subtopic to a later stage in your subtopic, and look for an opportunity to break the paragraph there. So paragraphs ordinarily are 1/3 of a page, 1/2 a page. It's fine for a paragraph where you are presenting plenty of data and interpreting the evidence and all of that sort of thing. It's fine for a paragraph to proceed to a single page, double-spaced, 12-point font in length, but it should not exceed that. If it exceeds that, you have certainly tried to put more than one stage of your subtopic in that paragraph. And so, from my perspective, you have not unthought the 5-paragraph essay enough. Okay, so now you're thinking about an essay that has 5 sections, or maybe 6 sections if you've got 4 subtopics, right? An introductory section, 4 subtopic sections, and then a conclusion section, right? Okay, and then those sections are all going to vary in length depending on the subject matter. And a paragraph is ideally 1/3 of a page or 1/2 of a page, maximum 1 page. And since a paragraph is of that nature, you can see that your essays in college are going to require many more than 5 of them. So, thank you very much, everybody, and happy writing.